There are games that become kings of their genre. Overwatch for hero shooters, Baldur's Gate 3 for CRPGs, Fortnite for battle royales. Valve's Deadlock is aiming to do the same for MOBAs, and we are at the very start of that story. That is, unless Valve ignores the bubbling player toxicity or makes the game so simplified for new players that it turns into a generic shooter. If those issues get a hold of the game, they can slowly kill Deadlock long before it ever reaches the throne. First, let's talk about what Deadlock is. Although it may seem like a hero shooter, most people get this part wrong. Deadlock is much more than that. Deadlock is very much a hero-first game. The heroes are flashy with lots of personality, true, but at its core this game is a MOBA. While several MOBAs do have heroes to pick, what sets them apart is their high proficiency ceiling. Players can spend 30 to 40 hours just getting familiar with the game's mechanics. But why do people play MOBAs in the first place? They sound like a lot of work, like a "and there will be a test on Monday" sort of vibes. There's a subset of players that enjoy fast-paced, action-oriented games that are easy to pick up, like Call of Duty. There's no issue with that. Some players are looking to turn off their brain and just have fun, since catharsis comes from action, explosions, and instant gratification for the brain. But MOBAs cater to the players that want several layers of thought in their game. They play to the "haha, you have activated my trap card" sort of crowd. Why play Deadlock though? If you wanted a challenge, you can play any other popular MOBA like League of Legends or Dota 2. What makes Deadlock special? Deadlock does have a hero shooter DNA. The characters sell the hero part well with their distinct aesthetics and personalities. Their abilities also have flavor that embodies their own unique playstyles and power fantasies. And you do still need solid aim to make the most out of them. That still plays a role in this game. However, what makes Deadlock truly remarkable is its movement tech. Most MOBAs only deal with the basic straight line movement, but Deadlock allows for jumps, dashes, and slides that bring a more performative level of playing. And that is where the magic of the game comes alive. It's not a traditional MOBA, which makes it more accessible than other titles. By accessible, I don't mean easy, but it provides a jump-off point for players that like fast-paced action and shooting to see an entry point to the game. That said, in order to be truly successful, the game must avoid two common problems that sink this genre. First comes from simplifying the game to attract and retain the largest amount of new players. I used the word accessible earlier, and I want to make a distinction between that and simplification. Again, accessible means that most players can get into the game and have some fun with basic knowledge. However, with this being a MOBA, they will quickly hit a skill wall. That's when player retention can take a huge hit. It could be tempting to reduce the complexity of these aspects in order to attract and retain more new players. However, we've seen other MOBAs do this in the past and ruin their core appeal. Paragon, for example, oversimplified the game so much it became both a washed-down brawler and a sad excuse of a MOBA. Trying to appeal to a very broad set of gamers ended up breaking the appeal to the core player base and thus began hemorrhaging activity. That and Epic had just created its cash cow on Fortnite, but don't get it wrong, Paragon was in life support way before that. On the other hand, the game can't cater to only their hardcore players because this creates a fork in the road with two more problems: lack of new players and community toxicity. Again, MOBAs are complex to understand, and some hardcore players love this aspect because they're enfranchised by their level of knowledge and skill. This enfranchisement can lead to dangerous levels of toxicity because veteran players will blame new players for losing games and not knowing how to play the game at their level. This is exactly what has made League of Legends and Dota 2 communities infamous among gaming circles. It's a constant demand of new players to perform, but new players can't or won't want to learn if they are always harassed. This creates a very obnoxious problem of new entry position open, 5 years of experience required. It creates a negative feedback loop that keeps new players, the lifeblood of any multiplayer game, away from playing. And Valve is no stranger to this situation. Dota 2 has experienced these issues for several years. There are studies and surveys indicating that toxicity is not only allowed, but also accepted and expected, that if you want to play the game, you better cope with the situation. While this is normal for games like Dota 2 that are established, it won't be the same for new entries like Deadlock. An emerging toxic community will keep new players from joining the game. Toxic players can also shift the game into something that only suits them by agreeing with changes that only maintain their enfranchisement. There are definitely other problems the community is wrestling to solve. The last big patch changed several heroes but neglected to address some of the most commonly regarded as OP. Looking at you, Celeste, there have also been rumbles that matchmaking is grossly off balance, which has led many to experience high losing streaks. That said, issues like core game direction and the game's community are more insidious problems that grow over time, and a simple hot fix won't be able to repair them once the damage is done. This game is amazing, and it's the second coming of one of my most beloved games, Battleborn. So needless to say, I'm excited to see what awaits us as a community as we move forward and watch this become the next big thing. If Valve doesn't drop the ball. Deadlock is my home right now, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. But did you know there are some players that jump through games always looking for residence? I made another video on the psychology of why we restart our favorite games. Check it out to see if this may be affecting your playstyle as well. See you on the next one.